Ladies and gentlemen, today we face a profound challenge that's quietly reshaping society: how to live meaningfully and joyfully alone, especially as we age. Loneliness is a common fear, but let's be clear, it doesn't have to lead to despair. Aging offers a unique opportunity, the time to reshape ourselves, reflect on life's deeper truths, and master socialization in ways that bring us fulfillment. To help navigate this path, I want to share 3 key principles. These are not quick fix solutions, but deep and actionable truths that can empower anyone to live joyfully, even in solitude. As we age, life has an uncanny way of reshaping our social landscape. The friendships we thought would last forever may fade. Family members who were once central to our daily lives may become preoccupied with their own. Some relationships are lost to time, distance, or circumstances beyond our control. This can feel disorienting, even heartbreaking, but it carries an undeniable truth. Our social lives are not static. They evolve, and that evolution demands something of us. What it demands is responsibility. Many people fall into the trap of waiting for others to reach out, for family to check in, or for friends to extend invitations. And when those calls don't come, they spiral into loneliness or bitterness. But waiting is a form of surrender, a subtle way of relinquishing control over a critical part of your well-being. Taking radical responsibility means recognizing that if you want connection, it's up to you to create it. There's no cavalry coming over the horizon. No one is going to burst through the door with an itinerary for how you'll stay socially engaged and emotionally fulfilled. It's your garden to tend. And like any good gardener, you must plan, plant, and prune with care. Start by being proactive. If there's someone you haven't spoken to in months or even years, reach out, pick up the phone, or send a message. It may feel awkward at first, but often people are more receptive than we give them credit for. They may even have been feeling just as isolated, waiting for someone to make the first move. Initiation is an act of courage, and it's one of the most effective ways to maintain relationships that matter. Next, put yourself in environments that encourage new connections. As humans, we thrive in structured social settings: book clubs, volunteer organizations, art classes, religious communities, or even informal walking groups. These settings give us context, purpose, and a shared goal, which naturally facilitates connection. Waiting at home for a spontaneous encounter is an exercise in flourish. Also, be mindful of how you approach social invitations. Far too often, people downplay the importance of small gatherings or casual coffee meetups, thinking it's not worth the effort or "I'll go next time." This mindset over time can erode your social life. Relationships are built on consistency, not grand gestures. The more you show up, the stronger your ties will become. So say yes more often, even when it's inconvenient or uncomfortable. Connection grows where effort is invested. Additionally, don't underestimate the importance of initiating social traditions or rituals. This could be a monthly dinner with friends, a weekend hike, or even a virtual book discussion. Traditions create structure and anticipation, and they provide something to look forward to. They also ensure that relationships are nourished on a regular basis, not just when loneliness strikes or life feels manageable. Taking charge of these rituals may feel like work, but it's work that pays dividends in the form of deep, lasting bonds. Taking radical responsibility for your social life also means being willing to take emotional risks. Relationships inevitably come with vulnerability, the risk of rejection, misunderstanding, or conflict. But the alternative, an isolated, disconnected life, is far worse. Allow yourself to be open, even if it means occasionally facing discomfort. When you extend an invitation or express care, you're not just creating an opportunity for connection, you're sending a signal to yourself that you value relationships enough to prioritize them. And that self-affirmation can be transformative. Finally, we must cultivate resilience in the face of rejection or disappointment. Not every effort to connect will be successful. Some people may be too busy, disinterested, or entrenched in their own struggles to reciprocate. But this is not a reflection of your worth, it's simply the reality of human relationships. Take the feedback, adjust if necessary, and keep reaching out. Every social connection you attempt is a step toward a more engaged, fulfilling life, even if not all of them bear fruit. Taking radical responsibility for your social life doesn't mean controlling every outcome. It means recognizing that while you can't dictate others' actions, you can control your own. You can show up, you can reach out, you can initiate, and in doing so, you transform loneliness from an inevitable fate into a challenge you are capable of overcoming. In a world that seems to value constant connection and endless social interaction, solitude is often misunderstood. It is viewed as something to be avoided, even feared. Many people equate being alone with loneliness, and they frantically fill their days with superficial social engagements, small talk over coffee, fleeting exchanges at parties, or scrolling through endless social media feeds. Yet these interactions, while they may temporarily stave off isolation, often leave people feeling emptier than before. Why? Because superficial socialization cannot provide the depth of connection or fulfillment that humans truly crave. Solitude, on the other hand, is not a curse. When approached with the right mindset, it is a powerful tool for self-discovery and emotional growth. Meaningful solitude allows us to reflect, recharge, and reconnect with our core values and aspirations. It is in these quiet moments that we come to understand who we are without the noise of external validation or societal expectation. The first step in embracing meaningful solitude is reframing our perspective on aloneness. Being alone does not mean being unworthy of connection or lacking in social desirability. It simply means that in this moment, you are choosing to spend time with yourself. And spending time with yourself is one of the most important things you can do. When you sit quietly and reflect on your thoughts, emotions, and experiences, you begin to cultivate a relationship with yourself, a relationship that is just as vital as any connection you have with others. During meaningful solitude, we gain the clarity needed to assess our lives honestly. We can reflect on past choices, consider future goals, and identify patterns in our relationships and behaviors. This kind of self-reflection is difficult, if not impossible, to achieve when we are constantly surrounded by distractions or superficial interactions. In solitude, there is no need to perform or meet the expectations of others. There is only the truth of who you are and the opportunity to grow from that truth. Solitude also offers the chance to explore creativity and intellectual pursuits. Many of history's greatest thinkers, writers, and artists, figures like Emily Dickinson, Henry David Thoreau, and Nikola Tesla, embraced solitude as a source of inspiration. They understood that great ideas are often born in moments of quiet contemplation. In our own lives, we can use solitude to nurture creativity, whether through writing, painting, playing music, or simply daydreaming. These activities not only enrich our lives, but also strengthen our sense of self, making us less reliant on external validation. However, embracing meaningful solitude requires discipline. It is all too easy to fall into the trap of mindless distractions, television, social media, or endless internet browsing. These activities may provide a temporary escape, but they do not offer the deeper satisfaction that true solitude can bring. To make the most of your alone time, set clear intentions. Choose activities that foster growth, reflection, or creativity. Create rituals that help you connect with yourself, such as journaling, meditating, or taking long walks in nature. It's also important to differentiate between solitude and isolation. Solitude is a choice, a deliberate act of stepping away from the noise to focus on your inner world. Isolation, on the other hand, often stems from fear, bitterness, or a sense of rejection. While solitude is empowering, isolation can be detrimental to mental and emotional well-being. To avoid slipping into isolation, stay mindful of your social needs. Solitude should enhance your relationships, not replace them. When you do interact with others, you'll find that the clarity and self-awareness you've gained from solitude allow for deeper, more meaningful connections. Finally, meaningful solitude helps us develop emotional resilience. Life is unpredictable, and there will be times when social connections are not readily available, whether due to physical distance, changing circumstances, or personal loss. When we are comfortable in our own company, we are less dependent on others for our sense of worth and fulfillment. We become more self-sufficient and better equipped to navigate life's challenges. This doesn't mean we should reject socialization entirely, but rather that we should strive for a balance. One where solitude and social interaction complement each other rather than being used to fill emotional voids. Superficial socialization may provide temporary relief from loneliness, but it cannot replace the deep sense of peace and fulfillment that comes from truly knowing and accepting yourself. By embracing meaningful solitude, we open the door to self-discovery, creativity, and emotional growth, essential components of a rich and fulfilling life. As we age, the temptation to slow down, settle into routines, and let curiosity fade can be overwhelming. Society often reinforces this narrative, subtly suggesting that personal growth belongs to the young. But nothing could be further from the truth. Continually cultivating your skills and interests is essential, not just for remaining engaged with life, but for deepening your sense of meaning and identity. Growth doesn't stop when you reach a certain age. In fact, it should accelerate. First, we must recognize that human beings are built for learning. The brain is remarkably adaptable, capable of forming new connections and acquiring new knowledge well into old age. Neuroplasticity, the brain's ability to reorganize itself, means that every time we practice a skill, learn a new concept, or engage in creative thinking, we strengthen our cognitive functions. Learning is not just a way to stave off mental decline, it is a pathway to vitality and engagement. Cultivating skills is also a powerful antidote to stagnation. Stagnation can creep in when we stop challenging ourselves, when our days begin to blur together in predictable patterns. It often manifests as boredom, apathy, or even depression. But the solution is within reach. Every new skill we learn introduces a spark of excitement and curiosity into our lives. It could be as simple as picking up a musical instrument, experimenting with cooking, or diving into a new field of study. What matters is the act of pushing beyond your comfort zone into new territory. One of the greatest benefits of lifelong learning is that it keeps us grounded in a sense of purpose. Purpose is not a destination we reach once and hold on to forever. It is something we continually cultivate through action. Developing new skills allows us to contribute meaningfully to the world around us, whether by teaching what we've learned, sharing our creative work, or simply engaging more fully in conversation. The more we grow, the more we have to offer.